The Apes Machinations. I could only see the dark abyss, and in it was such a burning pain within my chest that will not go away. A faint sound echoed through the vast empty space. It shuffled clumsily through the darkness, and it was accompanied by low, short grunts. I suddenly felt a hairy index finger gently lifting up my chin. To my astonishment, it was Styx, alive and well. How are you alive? You are dead. He said nothing for a short while, and then he whispered, I am. Confusion struck my face. But you are here, breathing. No. He slowly shook his head. Wake up, he muttered. I slowly opened my eyes and looked down. There was a large piece of wood sticking out of my broad, hairy chest. I could painfully feel the splintered wood press against my lung and heart, making every breath feel like I am inhaling thousands of needles all at once. I hung there for days, mourning the loss of Styx and my fellow clansmen. It was on the 9th day that the branch finally gave way and snapped. I landed on a bed of grass where I laid there for a while. It was then, at dusk, I slowly stood upright and began my march towards the edge of the island. By the time I reached the edge, the sky was pinkish haze and the sun was hiding behind the sea. Down below the edge of the island was the vast sea. Before I took my final step at the edge of the island, there was a primal roar that echoed on the other side. In the dense redwood forest, there was a carcass of a buffalo, rotting away in the field. It twitched, then slowly began to stand up. Upon a closer look, I saw that it was an old she-ape lifting up the carcass. I suddenly felt an intense hatred towards the woman. She was the one that caused my clan to die. She made us an extinct species that she was supposed to protect. A growl escaped my primal throat while I watched her vanish into the foliage. I quickly chased after her into the forest, leaping and scaling the tall canopies of trees in search for the she-ape who has caused me pain. Within 20 minutes of combing through the forest, I knew I lost sight of her. I looked at the afternoon sky for the entire evening, contemplating what I should do. As the sun set, it colored the sky in a burning orange, and gradually it turned pink, coating the once green vegetation into a shadowy blue. Then, an idea came to me through the colors of the landscape itself. So, this primal grass blessed me according to your false god. I wonder if I can bless others with this gift. For many years, I treaded across the island in search of the beating heart, scaling in the deepest crevices of the canyon walls, every cavern in the mountains, and in the darkest forests imaginable. Still, I could not find the strange heart-shaped rock that had the colorful grass. Then, I saw a large boulder with various red handprints painted across it. I caressed the rock gently to match one of the handprints. That is when I felt a slight movement. I pressed even harder and exhaled. Then the rock pulsed again and continued to pulse in a slow, rhythmic beat. Placing my ear on the rock, there was a steady beating of a heart. Found ya. I scaled up the rock, looking for an entrance to the cavern. I could not find it. No matter how many times I got off and climbed again, nothing, not even a hole. To my frustration, I punched the cliff. A hollow sound came from the rock. I curiously knocked on the stone. A hollow sound reverberated from the other side. I cracked my knuckles and began punching the rock until I finally broke my way into the cave. Grabbing onto a loose vine, I descended into the darkness, following the steady sound of a beating heart. It led me to the same cavern that housed the hundreds of statues and the one that had the colossal, savage figure in the center of them all. I hobbled towards the back of the figure, and there it was. The same heart-shaped rock, pulsing with the colorful grass across it. I grabbed handfuls and bolted away, but when I reached past the last stone figure, the grass turned from a lush, healthy mixture of colors into a dry, brown clump of straw. I returned to the heart, grabbed it, and hobbled away with the grass once more. It gave me the same result, a dry clump of lifeless grass. So, it looks like I have to bring my apes here to eat it. It has been a while since I've seen them. Problem is, they only accept Stonehead's leadership, and even if I took the leadership, they will not follow me because I lost to the white she-ape. What they need is to rally against a figure, a common enemy, the white she-ape. The months that followed, I tracked down my former tribe out in the field. Standing among them was Stonehead, towering over the others and carrying the same stoic expression he always had. There was a slightly younger ape that hobbled beside him, Sharprock, Stonehead's much younger brother. He was incredibly stupid, but much more violent and brutal compared to Stonehead, who was tame in comparison. I recall the time when he was a toddler that he violently pushed one of his playmates down to the ground and began to beat them in a vicious manner. It just took my glances to scare him off, but Stonehead looked on, amused rather than worried of the toddler's well-being. Now Sharprock is a young ape, coming into his prime. I hobbled my way towards the society. Stonehead looked into my general direction and then roared, "What you doing here?" I came to offer my help. "We do not need your help." I looked onward towards the hundreds of apes that he commanded. All of them were malnourished, and there were far fewer than the thousands he took over. This is much smaller than I remember. What happened to the rest of them? "These strongest there is rest dead because they are weak." Strongest? These apes are suffering and are weak from hunger. You claim to want to save the species, right? You are dwindling down on numbers. You need someone who had led this tribe for hundreds of years by your side. No help from you. You caused our tribe to be small, and you will effectively drive our species into extinction by the way you are leading it. We stared each other down. With a grunt, he conceded, "But you under Sharprock." Sharprock's dumbfounded face slowly turned into one with malicious contempt. "A new toy." He then began to pat my shoulder. I slapped him away and grunted. "Touch me like that again, and I will break your arm." He just hooted and hollered as if he had saw the funniest thing. "And fights back. I love it." With a huff, Stonehead half-heartedly welcomed me back into the tribe. I shuffled my way through the tired, hungry, frustrated apes, and among them was a familiar face. He was slightly aged with a few gray hairs sticking out of his head. There was a deep scar running from his right pectoral muscle down to his stomach. "Good to see you again, Rocker." He looked up and chattered excitedly. "Good. See, Evon. Now, back in power." "No, not yet." "What happened to you?" I gently caressed his chest. "Old she-ape dead after you left. Stonehead went on killing spree of herds. She-ape got angry, told Stonehead to stop. He refused, so she punished us. Only eat 3 animals a day. 3 animals cannot feed us. We are many. When I tried to kill another animal, she..." He brushed his hand against his scar. "We're starving, Evon. Help us." He had a worried look. "I will. I have a plan, but you must hold on. Be strong." I gently patted his shoulder. 3 days passed. It is bright and sunny. I sat among the high branches, silently eating a piece of fruit, when I spotted a creature I have never seen before. It was a young cub that had pink skin, yellow-brownish hair, and bluish eyes, and he was talking to the she-ape. What is it that they were doing? I wondered. They sat there for a few minutes, for what appears that they were waiting for something. Then a bright orange butterfly landed on the she-ape's shoulder, and she smiled. The butterfly flew from the she-ape's shoulder, and they followed it. Curiosity got the better of me, and I followed them from the safety and obscurity of the foliage. The butterfly led them to a colossal tree trunk in the middle of the grassy plains. I hid in the tall grass, carefully observing and listening to their conversation. The she-ape dug her fingers and tore open the bark. "I will help you for a week on taking care of these creatures, but after that, you are on your own. Now keep track of the workborg, Zulu. They like to migrate and rest in dead tree logs," she said. I sat among the tall grass and pondered. A young cub looks to be important to the woman. If I send someone to get rid of them... No. She is too strong, but her time will soon come to an end. I need to get Stonehead evolved, somehow make him look weak in front of the other apes. Then an idea came to my mind. Sharp Rock. He does like to eat rare insects, doesn't he? Problem is, he will not come all the way here just for a snack. He is a lazy bastard. And if Stonehead sees me talking to his brother, he might grow suspicious. He's not an idiot. I must bide my time. Keep up with the young cub until he is just an earshot away from Sharp Rock. For many months, I carefully tracked the young cub's movements until he was close to the colony of apes that resided at the very edge of the jungle. I approached Sharp Rock, who was at the riverbank, cupping handfuls of water to his mouth. Sharprock, do you have...
I don't remember asking for a toy.
He snapped.
If wants to play, I will play.
I know,
But leave,
he screeched. Fine, you won't get to eat the new bugs I found. His ears perked up. He slowly turned around with a curious face.
new bug.
He shambled over in a clumsy manner and hunched right next to me.
Where?
He grunted. I led him out of the forest and into the grasslands. I pointed at the young cub who was sitting next to the broken tree. You see that cub? He told me that he doesn't want to share the yummy worms. Not with anyone. Not even with you. Sharprock's face furrowed into a scowl, and then he charged towards the cub in a fit of rage. I sat comfortably while I watched them fight. The cub surprisingly was putting up much more of a fight than I expected, and swiftly dodged Sharprock's blows. Then, in a swift motion, the boy jammed a sharp spear into the ape's hulking chest, with Sharprock landing a mighty punch on the cub's temple. Sharprock's face went from a primitive, insane look into a docile one. Then he collapsed on the floor, lifeless. The cub likewise collapsed on the floor. I returned to the tribe, feigning ignorance to Sharprock's sudden disappearance. Word soon clamored of Sharprock's whereabouts. Some would say that he was in search of yummy, furry worms to eat, a rumor which I started. Within a week, a worried stonehead gathered 2 apes and myself to go search for him. It was on the 3rd week in the middle of the night that I discovered Sharprock's rotting body near the old broken tree, with the cub still sitting silently while holding the sharp stick tightly. I led Stonehead and the others to the cub's spot. Stonehead's face immediately turned red with intense anger upon seeing his brother's lifeless corpse.
Modern, Leaf, both charge on my signal. I go beyond and kill cub. Evon, you flank other side.
Then he galloped silently like a ghost walking in the field. He then looked back towards us and waved. Martin and Leaf charged while I just stood there and smiled. Thank you so much for looking at my content, and be sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more, and the notification so you know when it's out. Yeah, so thank you so much once again, and peace.